Okay, we're back for the third installment of this video. So here's number 11. Number 11. I redrew the frequency on this grid, on this graph. And of course, this is what we call a histogram. So in this histogram, we have teachers from 0 to 5 years. Then this is up to 10 years, then 15, 20, 25. That's the years of teaching in this histogram. And over here's the frequency, the number of teachers there are. So what I didn't do is I didn't label 8, 9, and 10. Hopefully you can see that and it's not too blurry and it's focused on the paper. Okay, so the first question is, how many teachers are there? How many teachers do you have? Well, we see we have 7 plus 10 plus 4 plus 1 plus 2. And if I'm not mistaken, 7 plus 10 plus 4 plus 1 plus 2 equals 24 teachers. Then the next part of the question says, which group of teachers has the most? Well, we know for part B, that's part A. For part B, we have the highest frequency is 5 to 10 years. Okay, that's the highest frequency, 5 to 10 years. The lowest, well, that's pretty easy to see from the graph. As long as you can see the graph and that's focused, that's this group between 15 and 20 years. Frequency is 15 to 20 years. Okay, how many are in each? Well, let's just list them. From 0 to 5 is 7 teachers. From 5 to 10 is 10 teachers. From 10 to 15 is 4 teachers. From 15 to 20, 15 to 20 has 1 teacher, and 20 to 25 years, there are 2 teachers. Okay? So if I were to say, look at this staff, I'd say, wow, that's pretty young staff. That's not too bad. Pretty young staff. Lots of energy in that building, I'm sure. All right. Let's go on to number 12 then. Number 12. If I have 3 pounds is $7.50, how much can I find? How much is this going to be for $10? How much do I get? Well, I'll tell you what, folks. To do this, the simplest way is to do cross multiplication, cross products. I'm going to take 3 times 10 equals 750 times x. Can you see that? Pretty straightforward. That's 30. I'm going to divide by 750 on each side. Okay, I'll get x on this side, and on the left side, whatever 30 divided by 750 is. And that's 4, believe it or not, 4. I can get 4. There you go. Number 13, I think this will go pretty quick. We're going to look for like terms. We can collect all the like terms together and just rewrite them. I can also circle them. I'm going to go ahead and circle. Here's a 4x. Here is a negative 2x and a negative 3x. How many x's do I have? 4, negative 2, negative 3. That's negative 1x. How about my whole numbers? I have a 4 plus 1. Well, I don't know if you could hear, but that was pretty loud rumble here. 4 plus 1, that's 5, minus 15. So 4 and 1 is 5, minus 15. 5 minus 15 is negative 10. That is what your solution would be right there. Letter B. Letter B, letter B. 5x squared. 4x squared. Those are like terms. But notice this is a plus sign. What would happen if this was actually a negative sign? That would make all of these in here the opposite sign. But we're lucky we don't see that here today. So we have 5x squared and 4x squared. That's 9x squared. How many x terms do we see? Well, I see an x here and an x there. I have -3 and -8 makes -11x. Then I have my whole numbers, 7 and -15. 7 and -15. That's -8. Can I combine anything else? No, certainly can't. That's it. From here, I see a 4x squared. Can I combine it with this -3x? No, I can't. This will remain 4x squared in my final solution. I have an x term. Here it is. Can I combine that with anything else? There's no other like term, so I have to just rewrite it. And here I have -10, -4, and that makes -14 plus 7. -14 plus 7. Let me see, what's -14? Oh yeah, that's -7. So I have 4x squared minus 3x minus 7. There's my final answer. Let's go on to number 14. It says draw a box and whisker plot. If I draw a box and whisker plot, I think what I need to do is find all kinds of things like the median, lower quartile, and upper quartile. In fact, they ask you those questions. What's the median? What's the lower quartile? What's the upper quartile? In this case, it's going to be pretty easy because they're already in order numerically. That's what we have to check for. Are they numerically in order? Sometimes you may have to put a stem and leaf grid, a stem and leaf grid. But in this case, we don't really need to. How many numbers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, 9 numbers. So I'm going to count inward. If I count 5 from the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would be 20. 5 from the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is 20. That is going to be my median. So I'm going to go ahead and count these out like this. Let's see. How can I do this? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. I can do that. This will be 20. That'll be 18, 16, 18, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. And over here we go 20, 22, 24, right here on the grid lines. 30, 32, 34, 36. I'm going to do that so I can make sure I put these numbers in. Okay, so on the stem and leaf plot, I know the median is going to be 20. Median is 20. How do I find Q1, the lower quartile? How do I find that? Well, I count the numbers in just like before. I count 1 from each end, and then the second, in this case, that number would be right in here. But I don't know that number. Of course, we remember, hopefully, we know it's the average between these two numbers, and so the average between 10 and 12 would be 11. So 11 on my box, that is my lower quartile right there at this point. My upper quartile, I'm counting here as well. 1, 2, 1, 2. In this case, it would be 23, because 23 would fall right between those two. Right there is where 23 would fall on this grid. So I'll make this. This is now my box plot. But don't forget, you want to do the whiskers at the end. So we know we have to go all the way down to 3, because that's the lowest number. And the highest number is 35. So that goes out to here. Okay. Looks to me like there's plenty of spread there. So your solutions right here, lower quartile is 11. Upper quartile is 23. There you go. That is what it looks like for problem number 14. Number 15, 15 parts apple, 3 parts grape. What is the percentage of apple? How does one do that problem? Well, I think it's easiest to go ahead and make a linear model. So let's make a linear model, okay? I know I'm going to have 15 parts apple. Okay? I'm going to have 3 parts grape. So how about a grape-apple mixture? How do I know what the percentage of is apple? Well, this apple, let's see, I don't know what the percent is. I don't know what this percentage is. What do I know? Well, I know it's 100% total, right? And I know 15 and 3, when you add those together, that makes 18. So the total parts is 18 parts. So if I have 18 parts, I have apple. Well, that's just going to be a fraction. I would say 15 parts apple over the total parts, which is 18. So if I find the percentage of apple, it's just simply going to be 15 divided by 18. That is 0.83333 forever. So that would give me, if I do a percent, I just move the decimal, it's going to be 83.33%. Okay, 83.33% of apple. All right, let's go on to the last one, number 16. Where did I write that in? There it is. Okay, we're using the portions web here, everybody. The portions web. If I have 55%, here's my percent. What's my decimal? What's my fraction? Folks, this is going to be on your test, okay? There's no 2 ways about it. I still have people once in a while that get mixed up. So let's remember, if I have a percent, all I need to do to make this into a decimal is to move the decimal point from this end 2 spaces. That's it. So that will be 0.55. How do I make that into a fraction? Well, in this case, because 0.55 is a decimal, I need to look and say, okay, what's the farthest place to the right? What's that place value? This is the tenths, this is the hundredths. So I'm going to write 55 over, what did I say? Hundredths. There's your fraction. Of course, I can reduce that. If I divide both things by 5, I get 11 over 20. Either of these 2 answers, I will accept. All right. Now, if I have this fraction, 5 fourths, 5 fourths, how do I write that as a decimal? Well, it's going to be more than 1 because I see that this is larger. Okay, the 5 is larger than the denominator. So when I write this as a decimal, I'm simply doing some division. I can multiply everything out to make this 100 in the denominator. If I do that, I multiply by 25, and I multiply by 25. So that gives me 125 over 100. There's a fraction. But how do I make it a decimal? Well, it's simply 5 divided by 4. 5 is being divided by 4. Well, I know it goes in there once. Okay? And I'm going to put a decimal point here. I add some zeros. Okay? So it goes here once. That gives me 4. I have 1. 1.0 or 10. 4 goes into this twice. That gives me 8. Do my subtraction. That gives me 2. I bring down this 0. 4 goes into 20. Oh yeah, 5 times evenly. Yep, 1.25. Oh, look, 125 over 100. That's also the same as that decimal. Okay? There you go. Oh, the one thing I forgot to do is write this in words or write a picture. I like to do words and just write 55%. Okay, that's what that would be, 55%. This one, I started with this fraction. I would write 5/4 fourths. Okay? You could draw it if you wanted to. It would look like this. And I would make a fourth of a circle. 5/4. This one, as I'm looking at it, it's eighths. Actually, I should do this, put this here and that here. Yeah, eighths. So this is 2/8 or 1/4 of this picture. So it would be 2/8 would be a fraction, or 1/4. Well, hopefully you have learned that 2/8, which is 1/4, is the same as 25%, which is also the same as 0.25. I don't need to write or draw anything if I'm already given that. Here we have 8/100ths, right? So 8/100ths, I just wrote it as a fraction. There it is. If I wanted to make this into a percent, I'm sorry, I didn't move my book. Okay, so here it is, 2/8 or 1/4 is the same as 25% or 0.25. And letter D, 0.08 is the same as 8/100ths, so that's just 8 over 100. Or I can move the decimal 2 places for my percent. That becomes 8%. Okay? If I were to write that in words, I would simply write 8/100ths. Don't forget, it's D, 800 with a THS, 8/100ths. If you want to draw a picture, you can, but that'd take a lot of little squares when you're making 8/100ths. And you could by making a 100 unit square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that would be 10 by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's 10. Okay? And since I have grid paper, it's a little easier. I would just color 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There. Here are my 8/100ths. We are finished for the day. I hope you did well on this practice test, even without my help. We will have a test next week. It looks like it's going to be on or about Tuesday. So best wishes to you. Make sure you study, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Take care.